One of the really interesting things that kind of stuck out to me was like your story and how shit hit the fan. Would you like to talk a little bit about that aspect of things?
I feel like because like social media fame or whatever I had going on, it is artificial. So I feel like it is comparison to like a drug. And I hadn't done anything, like any drugs, like at that age. But I would say, like, especially when I was in LA, it felt like I was on MD. It really felt like it was just like, I don't know, every morning was bliss. Like I could go anywhere. I could travel anywhere. Like every day I get messages, people wanting to be my friend, wanting me to come to their house and like stay with them and like hang out. Like I felt like I was kind of living in this like dream-like existence, but I was like, and that's why I think the more I got what I thought I wanted. For example, when I was in LA, I really wanted to live there and like get an agency and like make money. And I was like really just trying to get like signed over there. And as soon as I kind of had like the opportunities, I don't know, just something kind of, okay, this is when it stopped being kind of MD and kind of felt like acid. Like it kind of felt like I was there for about 3.5 months. And towards the end of it, I don't know, I started just seeing everyone else hang out with differently. I just started, I don't know, it was like this little voice in my head was like, you just take pictures of yourself and like roll around. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't know. I guess it's weird because I feel like I was like, I wouldn't say I was an Instagram model in the sense that I feel like I truly felt like an influencer. Like it was before influencers were a thing. I was like diehard vegan. Like I obviously still am. Like I was really into like, I guess ethical fashion and like, I don't know, I was very, very spiritual. Like I loved just writing my stream of consciousness. Like I really lived like that. Like I just take pictures of myself and then like write about my feelings. So it felt like a very natural system. But then as soon as I graduated from high school and it kind of had to start making money from it, I think that's what fucked with me. Because it was kind of like, oh shit, like it literally is my personality that's like getting in more engagement. And then I remember like trying to be more funny and trying to be, and just, I don't know, it's an addictive pattern of like you kind of can test your personality and then you get feedback. So I think that started becoming more and more obvious to me. Like, oh, I'm putting up like this bubbly, excited, happy person, but I don't really feel that way. And it felt like I had to keep being that person or else I was being fake. Like, it was weird.
So, like, having to monetize your personality was something that, like, didn't sit well with you.
Yeah.
Having to figure out a way to continue to get that attention.
Yeah, I think I was just so young, so I didn't have that, like, that self-awareness that I think you do when you're a little bit older of just, like, I don't know, you can, like, reflect on yourself and, like, analyze yourself. So I think it was just, I was just doing it. Like, I was just so into it. And I do think that's why I did get successful, because when I was doing it, I loved it. And it didn't feel like a career. It felt like more than that. It felt like this is me and this is like who I am to others. I don't know. It felt, so I guess when I tried to get money with modeling, that's when it felt like, I don't know, I also hated it. I also hated modeling. I hated going to shoots like early. I hated hair and makeup. I hated just like posing for like 12 hours. Like I liked doing my own photos and my own thing with my like friends and stuff, but I hated when it became more than that, I guess.
Like a business.
Yeah. And then especially when I started like traveling my first year out of high school and like that cost heaps of money. And I was just so young. So I guess like I would get like $1,000 from like AdSense or something. And I would spend it kind of in the next 2 weeks on flights. So like I was just so, I don't know, just like, it was just like, oh, awesome. I didn't really see it as like money. I didn't really see it as like, this is your career. It was kind of just like so much fun. And as long as the numbers kept going up, I was good, you know?
With the constant validation, it must have felt like you needed to keep doing things to increase the sense of validation. Like you said, it was sort of like an addicting drug, the constant attention, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it wasn't even just like for my following too, like it definitely was the likes. Like it's just an exciting thing. Doesn't matter what's going on at home or like for me, like, you know, middle, like just high school drama or like even relationships. I always had something that I could go to that loved me. And it wasn't just like I got likes. It was more like, you're amazing. Like you speak my truth. Like it was a lot of, and also like, then also just being like, you're beautiful. Like you're just, it's really artificial. Cause like, I don't know, I guess looking back, even though I was dealing with a lot of things with like body image and definitely just from like, just mental health from outside of social media, really. It felt like that was like, a drug that I could just, but it was like it wasn't like I just logged in. It was always with me. I was like, no, I have this following. I am this person. And so without that, I think I really have been I did struggle for a couple years right after, because it was like, you go from just like, I don't know, just like all of this validation, all of this like encouragement even, and like people saying, like, it definitely encouraged me to express. Like, it was a kind of a two-way street. I felt that way with my audience, I think, because it was just so young. So probably, I think my engagement was like 14, 16-year-olds, and that was kind of the main, which is a prime audience to pay for. Demographic, yeah.
It's really interesting. It reminds me a little bit of that movie that came out a couple of years ago, Ingrid Goes West.
Oh, yeah.
The one with Aubrey Plaza's in it, and she's this kind of like alienated girl who then like discovers Instagram and then becomes obsessed with this influencer and decides she's gonna.
She lost.
Yeah, she lost her mom, and yeah, she like is alienated, and then she gets obsessed with this influencer and like moves to Los Angeles in order to kind of like live that lifestyle and like follow her life.
Yeah.
And then like the whole kind of vibe of the story was to do with how the influencer has now become like the new kind of media job.
Yeah.
Whereas before influencers were kind of celebrities. They weren't necessarily called influencers, even though that's what they do. But now, because of all these different tools that are available, anyone can become an influencer. And it doesn't necessarily even just revolve around beauty. It could be about anything. In a way, like, we're influencers, but just like ones that
that's like the main theme. As she's been talking about this, I've just been like sinking lower personally. I'm just like,
But it is, these platforms do trap you in that kind of like feedback loop of validation and constantly being obsessed with reach and increasing your personal profile, no matter what kind of avenue you're pursuing.
Your story does sound a little bit different though, just because in Ingrid Goes West, like, it's a theme in the film for me is authenticity as well, in the kind of way that people live their life versus what they need to do to get money. Being an influencer, but it seems like you were really genuine and you really were authentic and you really loved what you did. So that is kind of like a possibility in that lifestyle as well. I don't know.
But the disconnect, well, I'm not like an influencer on the scale that you were, but like, I mean, now the disconnect for me is like mostly to do with the fact that what I enjoy is like private, and feeling like I have to put that out there all the time and monetize it makes me feel alienated from it in a sense. So I tend to take a lot of long breaks because of that. And also the fact that like you are not just kind of in your self-expression, your likes, your tastes, the things that inspire you, wanting to share that with other people is a good thing, and having the ability to do it is. But when it becomes this sort of like dogged expectation, it can be quite alienating in that regard.
Yeah, that's like my favorite word, alienating.
Yes.
No, because it is, because like, again, that's why I keep saying, I don't know what it'd be like to be an influencer at my age, 23. Like, I don't know what that's like, because I can only remember it being a teenager. But I do remember thinking, I think that's what started maybe making me want out, was thinking that like, oh, if I get like a really attractive boyfriend, or if I get, like, I started thinking more like that, like, you kind of, it's like this, I don't know, this is every influencer, but, and again, it's probably my demographic, my type of influencing. It's not, not people like talking about politics.
I don't know. I worry a lot about getting an attractive boyfriend personally.
I feel like it's like part of you wants that for yourself, but there's always like this, like, I don't know, this overarching like veil of like, how will this look towards other people? And I think that becomes really like almost subconscious, unconscious, the more you do influencing. And I think that's the stuff that trips me out a bit, is like just how that can kind of, blend.